So, you have gotten to the point where you want to make your next legendary. Maybe it's even your first one, but which one should you make? I'll be breaking down the different types of legendaries, what their benefits are, and why you might want to choose one over the other. Let's get started. Legendary backpacks are great because they can be used on every single one of your characters. If you dive into the crafting price of these, then they are also relatively cheap compared to other legendary items. I don't personally think there is a lot of downsides to making a legendary backpack, especially because you can make one in any game mode you want. Legendary armor is one of the big grinds in this game, and if you choose to go for this, then it will take you a lot of time to complete. This goes for any of the game modes. The legendary armor you can get from raids is the fastest one to acquire in terms of time gating, if that is what you're concerned about. One of the great things about legendary armor is the fact that you can craft each piece one at a time, and that each piece is much cheaper than a full legendary weapon, trinket, or backpack. One downside you have to remember when it comes to legendary armor is that you are limited to the armor weight you choose to craft. If you're mainly playing, let's say, heavy armor classes, then this is not much of an issue. But if you're someone playing multiple different classes with different armor weights, then legendary armor might not be the right place for you to start. Overall, legendary armor will fill out a lot of the slots in your equipment for a relatively cheap cost. Legendary trinkets are great. Just like a legendary backpack, they can be used on absolutely any of your characters, but they are more expensive than a backpack as of making this video, and the PvE legendary trinkets cannot have their effects turned off. The trinkets from 1v1 and PvP can have their effects turned off, which is definitely a plus, but if these game modes are not something for you, then that's probably not a great choice. On the bright side, there is a new legendary trinket, Prismatic Champion's Regalia, coming for those who have access to all the Living World chapters up until Icebrood Saga. This trinket will require you to do a bunch of simple achievements for each episode, thereby completing the meta achievement Seasons of the Dragons. It's not possible to fully finish this meta achievement quite yet, but it will be a very cheap way to get a legendary trinket. Weapons are the oldest form of legendaries in the game, and they usually have very flashy effects, which makes a lot of people drawn to crafting them. So if flashy effects is what you're going for, then legendary weapons might be the thing for you. They do range quite a lot in price, which is certainly something I think you should take into account when making your decision. At the end of the day, legendaries can be incredibly high value if you use that weapon on multiple characters and on multiple different equipment templates. If that's not the case, then they're quite limiting to craft compared to the other types we already talked about, since some of them are very restricted on which classes they can be used. When it comes to legendary runes and sigils, then while these are nice quality of life, they are very expensive compared to what they are replacing. This is why I think these are the last legendaries you should probably want to make. This is my personal opinion, and I attempted to highlight some of the questions you will have to ask yourself as to what priority matters to you. So what are my actual recommendations? I think you should always start out with a legendary backpack. These are cheap, usable on all your characters, and you can get them from any game mode you want. After that, I think you should start working on the time gates for legendary armor while you grind for the legendary trinkets. This will allow you to work on them in parallel. Once you have armor, trinkets, and backpack in place, then working on the types of weapons that you use the most would be the next logical step. If you manage to fill out all the slots, then eventually there are only runes and sigils left. As of this video, the runes are much cheaper than the sigils, so that's what I would make a higher priority for me personally. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check me out on Twitch TV/Reddish, where I stream Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays.